There was like a lot of chaos. You just heard the shots ring out. It was like rah rah. You know what I'm saying? There's a few people moving around, but at the same time, like with stuff like that, you trying to get out the way because you trying not to get hit.
3 years have passed since the shooting of King Von in Atlanta, yet people haven't stopped talking about him. Losing a rapper at the height of their career is like losing a musical genius mid-symphony. King Von's rise to fame was meteoric, his lyrics mirroring the reality of his life. But just when the plot thickened, the unexpected twist hit. The charges against King Von's alleged killer were dropped, leaving everyone scratching their heads like they just heard a bad punchline. Why the sudden change in tune? We will explore that, but first let us look at the real reason King Von was taken out: death. Now let's rewind to the events leading up to the fateful altercation between King Von and Quando Rondo. It all began in Atlanta, the heart of the rap scene, on November 6, 2020. King Von was in town to celebrate the release of his highly anticipated album, Welcome to A Block. Atlanta, known for its top-notch recording studios and collaborations, was the perfect place for King Von to connect with fellow artists and make his mark in the industry. On that day, King Von gathered with a select group of friends, family members, and business partners at a club. They were all there to listen to his new album and revel in its success. The atmosphere was electric, filled with excitement and anticipation. It was a night of celebration, marking a milestone in King Von's career. To ensure a comfortable place to crash after the festivities, King Von and his crew had rented an Airbnb for the night. They had plans to hit the studio later on, but for now, they were focused on enjoying the moment and basking in the glory of their hard work paying off. However, something seemed off about King Von that night. People who were present at the album release party noticed that he wasn't quite himself. He appeared distant and standoffish, as if something was weighing heavily on his mind. No one knew he had received information that Quando Rondo, his rival, was at a different club just down the street. As the celebration came to an end, King Von, accompanied by a driver and one other person, made their way to his SUV. Typically, King Von would have a team of security guards and his O-Block crew with him for added protection. But on this particular night, things took an unexpected turn. While driving towards the Airbnb, King Von suddenly instructed his driver to turn the vehicle around. Instead of heading to their intended destination, they made their way to a lounge called Monaco. And here's where the story takes a surprising twist. Quando Rondo happened to be at the lounge, parked in the parking lot, taking a nap in his luxurious McLaren. Now, one might think this was just a coincidence, but given the intense beef between the two rappers, it's hard to believe it was purely accidental. The odds of two artists with such deep-rooted animosity randomly crossing paths in a parking lot outside a club are slim. It seemed like fate had brought them together, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation. Upon arriving at the lounge, King Von sat in his SUV for what felt like an eternity, around 20 to 30 minutes. He was silent, lost in his own thoughts, engrossed in his phone. It was clear that something was brewing beneath the surface, and tensions were mounting. Meanwhile, word quickly spread among King Von's security and O-Block crew about his whereabouts. Without hesitation, they rushed to the lounge, their massive SUVs creating a spectacle as they pulled into the parking lot. It was a scene straight out of a Hollywood action movie, with the intensity and anticipation evident in the air. One of King Von's boys took it upon himself to scout out Quando Rondo, locating him and relaying the information back to King Von. Without hesitation, King Von emerged from his SUV, stepping into the middle of the street. Behind him stood Quando Rondo, unaware of the storm that was about to unleash. And just like that, chaos erupted. King Von's crew swarmed Quando Rondo, engaging in a fierce brawl right there in the middle of the street. It was a clash of egos, a battle fueled by years of animosity and rivalry. No firearms were used during the altercation, as King Von was legally prohibited from carrying one due to a pending court case involving Lil Durk. However, as the brawl intensified, a sudden turn of events took everyone by surprise. Lil Tim, a close friend of Quando Rondo, emerged from the white SUV, brandishing a firearm. He unleashed a barrage of shots, using the weapon to defend his friend in the midst of the chaos. The sound of gunfire reverberated through the night, catching the attention of undercover cops who were parked nearby. They swiftly approached the scene. The once bustling street turned into a war zone, with firearms being discharged from various directions. People scattered, seeking cover behind cars, desperate to escape the crossfire. Amidst the chaos, King Von and Quando Rondo continued their fight. However, Von got hit by a bullet. It was a moment that would forever alter the course of their lives and the rap industry as a whole. Amidst the chaos, King Von's friend Muap, realizing the severity of the situation, sprang into action. He ran over to King Von, knocking Quando Rondo out of the way, and helped King Von into a waiting getaway vehicle. The vehicle was strategically positioned around 15 feet away from the initial brawl spot, ready to whisk King Von away to safety. Tragically, the getaway vehicle didn't reach the hospital in time. Despite the efforts to save him, King Von succumbed to his injuries during the journey. Upon arriving at the hospital, another startling revelation unfolded. It turned out that Lil Tim, who had been defending Quando Rondo during the brawl, had also been injured. One of King Von's boys had managed to hit Lil Tim in the leg while trying to protect King Von. As a result, both Lil Tim and King Von were taken to the same hospital, where an unexpected confrontation could have erupted. Law enforcement was already present and awaiting their arrival. The hospital became a tense environment, with emotions running high. The incident had attracted significant attention, and the authorities were prepared for any potential conflicts that might arise. While receiving medical attention, Lil Tim found himself in handcuffs, charged in connection with King Von's passing. The weight of the situation was heavy, and the aftermath of the brawl only added to the already intense atmosphere. The investigation into the incident began, with many people digging deeper into the court case surrounding King Von's tragic death. As the news broke, rumors and speculation started to circulate. One name that emerged in connection with the incident was NBA Youngboy. NBA Youngboy and King Von had a long-standing beef, with tensions escalating over time. Their rivalry had been fueled by songs made with each other's girlfriends and public displays of one-upmanship. Many believe that the involvement of Quando Rondo, who was signed to the NBA Youngboy's label, added another layer to the feud. Quando Rondo had expressed loyalty to NBA Youngboy, claiming that he would do anything for him. This loyalty could have been the spark that ignited the beef between King Von and Quando Rondo, as King Von had long desired to confront NBA Youngboy himself. In the months that followed, the case garnered significant attention from the media and the hip-hop community. The investigation into the incident was thorough, with authorities diligently working to piece together the events of that tragic night. Despite the gravity of the situation, Lil Tim managed to secure his release on bond in April of the following year. It was a surprising turn of events, as murder charges are typically considered non-bondable offenses in the state of Georgia. However, Lil Tim's legal team successfully appealed his case to the Superior Court, granting him the option of bond. The release on bond marked a significant development in the case, raising questions and speculation about the upcoming trial. The hip-hop community and fans of King Von anxiously awaited justice, hoping for closure and answers surrounding the events that led to his untimely demise. No one knew that the case would take an unexpected turn that would leave everyone stunned and questioning the course of justice. On August 20th, 2023, Lil Tim's attorney, Noah Pines, dropped a bombshell statement, revealing that all charges against his client had been dismissed. The case against Lil Tim was dismissed prior to ever being indicted, a shocking revelation that left many wondering why the charges were dropped and what this meant for the pursuit of justice. How could a case that seemed so clear-cut suddenly take such a dramatic turn? According to Complex's in-house attorney, Syed Hasib Hussain, the dismissal of charges does not imply Lil Tim's innocence. Instead, it suggests that there was not enough evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to secure a conviction. Prosecutors reportedly believe that King Von's death was an act of self-defense, leading them to drop the charges against Lil Tim. The details surrounding the events of that tragic night at the Monaco Hookah Lounge are still somewhat murky. Witnesses have provided varying accounts, and the investigation has faced challenges in establishing a clear narrative. This lack of concrete evidence may have played a significant role in the decision to drop the charges against Lil Tim. The dismissal of charges raises questions about the events leading up to the altercation and the actions taken by those involved. King Von's girlfriend, Asian Doll, took to Twitter to express her belief that the police were responsible for King Von's death, stating, "Because the police said Tim ain't kill him, the police did." These claims further complicate the narrative. In a 2021 interview with Angela Yee, Quando Rondo, who was also present during the altercation, claimed that he and his team were acting in self-defense that night. He described the events as a sudden attack, stating, "I'm thinking these were some regular individuals, so I'm letting this group come by. Next thing you know, a nigga hit me. Boom bow, I lie to you not. It's like I had an out-of-body experience." These conflicting accounts further muddy the waters and contribute to the complexity of the case. The dismissal of charges against Lil Tim raises questions about the reliability of witness testimonies, the interpretation of self-defense, and the challenges faced by prosecutors in securing a conviction. As the case takes an unexpected turn, Lil Tim has wasted no time in expressing his relief and optimism about beating the charges. Shortly after the dismissal, he released a song and music video titled "Left a Stain," in which he raps about the verdict of the case. He proclaims, "I'm about to beat this case. I really came from the bottom, feeling like I'm Drake." Some question the justice system, while others believed Von got what he deserved. Let's explore their reasons. Demon. Chicago's rap scene is deeply intertwined with the city's gang culture, and King Von found himself at the center of it all. His best friend, T-Roy, was a notorious shooter for the Black Disciples gang, rumored to be Chief Keef's shooter. T-Roy's fearless reputation and savage nature instilled fear in those who crossed his path. Some theories suggest that T-Roy's violent streak stemmed from being picked on due to his short stature, or from witnessing the tragic death of his friend O.D. Perry. Whatever the cause, T-Roy's association with King Von only added to the fear surrounding him. King Von himself had a criminal past that was intertwined with shootings and fights, both inside and outside of jail. He was no stranger to the violent streets of Chicago, and his reputation as a ruthless enforcer and shooter was well deserved. But it was the involvement of King Von in several high-profile homicides that truly solidified his fearsome reputation. One such case was the murder of Gakira Barnes. Growing up without him, she developed a sense of self-reliance and a hunger to bond with others. Her early loss may have contributed to her strong impulse to protect those dear to her and keep them safe from harm. As Gakira entered her teenage years, she found herself drawn to a group of young men from her neighborhood in Woodlawn on the south side of Chicago. They called themselves the St. Lawrence Boys and later became known as the Flyboy Gang. It was within this tight-knit community that Gakira would find a sense of belonging and purpose. But life in the streets was far from easy. Gakira witnessed the devastating impact of violence firsthand. One of her closest friends, 15-year-old Shondale Tuka Gregory, was shot and killed while waiting for a bus in January 2011. The loss of Tuka deeply affected Gakira and the entire group. In his memory, they renamed themselves the Tuka Gang and their neighborhood Tukaville. 8 months later, tragedy struck again when a 20-year-old opposing gang member named O.D. Perry was gunned down. Rumors circulated that Gakira had been the one responsible for his death, although the police never named her as a suspect. The rival gang retaliated by christening their home turf O Block, which included the notorious rapper and Black Disciple gang member Chief Keef Kozar. The rivalry between the Tuka Gang and O Block escalated, with each side using music as a platform to express their anger and seek revenge. Chief Keef, who had included Odie in one of his music videos, recorded songs that mocked the Tuka Gang. The commercial interest in their real-life conflicts only fueled the violence, creating an illusion that the bloodshed was somehow glamorous. But behind the tough exterior, Gakira was still a young girl with dreams of a better life. She had aspirations of escaping the violence and providing a brighter future for herself and her family. Her mother, Chantel Brown, described her as a beautiful and loved girl who had a passion for music. They would sit together, playing music on their iPhones and share moments. The rap rivalry took a tragic turn when a young rapper named Joseph Lil Jojo Coleman released a diss track targeting Chief Keef and the Black Disciples. However, his life was cut short when he was shot to death in September 2012 while riding on the back of a friend's bicycle. The violence seemed to spiral further out of control. Christmas Day 2012 brought another devastating loss. Joshua J. Loud Davis, an 18-year-old aspiring rapper, was gunned down simply for wearing a Lil Jojo hooded sweatshirt. His brother, Ricky Davis, spoke of Jay's dreams of making it as a rapper and providing a better life for their mother, who had raised them on her own. The impact of the Chicago music scene was undeniable, with the violence seemingly fueled by the rivalries and feuds within the industry. In July 2013, the Flyboy Gang released a music video titled Murda, featuring Young X Dutchie leading the rapping. Gakira K.I. Barnes prominently appeared in the video, looking small and impossibly young but exuding confidence among her male counterparts. She held an automatic pistol, her face partially covered by a black bandana, sending a clear message that crossing the Flyboy Gang came with dire consequences. The video was a reflection of the harsh reality these young individuals faced every day. It was not just theatrics or fantasy, it was a warning to those who dared to challenge the Flyboy Gang. Chief Keef, who had gained fame and fortune through his music, moved to the safety of a suburban McMansion, posting Instagram photos of himself posing with guns in a marble bathroom. His debut album, Finally Rich, included a song with lyrics that disrespected the murdered Tuka, further fueling the tensions between the rival gangs. In September 2013, Leonard La Capone Anderson, a Chief Keef associate, was shot after leaving a recording studio. He had survived a previous shooting, but this time, luck was not on his side. Just a month later, Chief Keef himself tweeted lyrics that referenced the murder of Gakira's friend Tutu, further stoking the flames of the ongoing feud. Tragically, on April 11, 2014, Gakira K.I. Barnes met her own untimely end, A hooded gunman approached her on Eberhart Street, just blocks away from where Odie Perry had been killed. She collapsed with multiple bullet wounds at the base of some wooden steps. Despite the efforts of a neighbor and paramedics, she could not be saved. The news of her death spread quickly, and her friends took to social media to mourn her loss. In the aftermath, photos of Gakira brandishing guns circulated on social media as if perpetuating the myth of her invincibility. Someone even began tweeting in her name, creating an alternate reality where she still lived. Her mother, Chantel Brown, stood before the media with a graduation photo of Gakira, urging people not to believe everything they saw on social media. She emphasized that her daughter was more than the image portrayed online, describing her as a beautiful and loved girl with dreams of a better life. In 2023, police reports emerged revealing that King Von had confessed to killing Gakira. The brother of Gakira, FBG Butter, initially denied King Von's involvement in the murder. However, in 2020, it was revealed that King Von had indeed taken Gakira's life, further cementing his reputation as a violent murderer. Another rapper linked to King Von was FBG Duck, whose life was tragically cut short in August 2020. There were suspicions that King Von may have put out a bounty on his head. The federal authorities took swift action, raiding O Block and arresting 5 members, including Charles Liggins, Kenneth Robertson, Carlos Alford, Christopher Thomas, and Marcus Smart for FBG Duck's murder. The charges against them included murder, unlawful use of firearms, and assault with dangerous weapons. The revelation of a $50,000 bounty only added to the intrigue surrounding King Von's involvement in the crime. As the investigation unfolded, internet sleuths discovered that King Von's little brother, Louis V, was the suspected informant who had been arrested for unlawful use of a weapon. The close relationship between Louis and King Von raised questions about Louis's knowledge of his brother's activities, adding another layer of complexity to the story. One of the most shocking incidents involving King Von was the shooting incident in Atlanta in 2019. Alexander Weatherspoon was shot and robbed of a gold chain and $30,000. King Von, along with Lil Durk and Bezos, was arrested in connection to the shooting. Initially, Lil Durk was considered the main suspect, but after King Von's untimely death, all charges against Lil Durk were dropped, revealing that King Von was the one who had pulled the trigger. This incident shed light on King Von's involvement in criminal activities beyond the streets of Chicago. It showcased his willingness to resort to violence to protect his interests and maintain his reputation. The combination of King Von's loyalty to his friends, his reputation as a ruthless shooter, and his involvement in criminal activities created a chilling aura around him. Rappers and individuals in the rap scene were wary of crossing paths with him, knowing the potential consequences. But what if Von had survived? What if? At the time of his passing, King Von was in the midst of fighting a case alongside Lil Durk. They were both accused of shooting at someone at a gas station in Atlanta. While the case was later dropped, after Von's death, many fans believed that he would have faced charges for this incident. But that's not all. Speculation also suggests that there were 3 additional bodies pinned on Von in Chicago. These are all unverified claims, as Von is no longer with us, but it goes to show that fame didn't stop him from being involved in criminal activities. Von had a long history of trouble with the law. He came straight out of prison and joined Lil Durk's entourage, simultaneously navigating the streets and the music industry. There have been stories of Von jumping interviewers and clowning other rappers on live streams for no apparent reason. Von's time spent in jail throughout his life further highlights his involvement in criminal activities. One of the most shocking murder charges he would have faced if he had survived was the death of a man named Modell from the STL EBT gang. The tragic event unfolded in October 2012 when Modell and his cousin Miles were walking down the street. Suddenly, shots rang out, shattering the peace of the neighborhood. Both Modell and Miles were struck by bullets, leaving them fighting for their lives. Tragically, Modell succumbed to a chest shot, while Miles, who had no involvement in the streets and was a high school football player, miraculously survived. However, the incident forever altered his life. He was struck 5 times and spent weeks in a medically induced coma. When he finally regained consciousness, he faced the devastating reality that he could no longer walk. Initially, the police suspected Von's associate, T. Roy, of being responsible for the shooting. However, leaked reports later suggested that Von himself was the shooter. Rumors circulated that both Von and T. Roy were present during the incident, and Von's tweet the day after the shooting seemed to confirm their involvement. He cryptically wrote, "Me and T. Roy got a problem. We just can't stop doing our thingy thing and all that." The murder of Modell would have been a significant charge against King Von if he had survived. The Chicago police, known for their relentless pursuit of justice, would have left no stone unturned in their quest to bring him to trial. The evidence against Von, including witness testimonies and potential video footage, would have painted a damning picture of his alleged role in the shooting. The weight of the charge would have hung heavily over his head, with the prospect of a lengthy prison sentence looming. already ravaged by violence and loss, would have sought justice for Modell's death. So the worst possible outcome for King Von's livelihood if he were still alive would be him getting locked up. Considering his prior criminal history, it's a realistic scenario. However, it's worth mentioning that Von had some luck in the justice system in the past. He managed to avoid being convicted for a body and 2 attempted murders by staying solid and witnesses not showing up. Now let's explore the second outcome for King Von's life if he were still alive: the potential for him to capitalize on his extreme talent and potential in the music industry. To flourish in an industry that thrives on deceiving the masses, an artist not only needs talent, but also an image that can be marketed to the masses. Many rappers in the industry may fool the public about who they truly are, but eventually the truth comes to light. In Von's case, he was a true gangster rap, embodying the essence of what gangster rap is all about. He was nobody to idolize or look up to, but the industry knows what sells and what they can promote. They simply want to make money, and they will never truly promote what betters society. Von's journey from prison, where he beat a whole body case, to getting signed by one of the most respected rappers in the game showcases his embodiment of the ideal artist for major rap labels. This is not the first time we've seen this phenomenon. Artists like YNW Melly, who create rap music while living the lifestyle they rap about, are the ones who truly captivate audiences. Labels are not ignorant. They know who they sign. They understand the risks involved, and when an artist crashes out, they still profit from the increased streams and attention. Labels think deeply, and they understand the power of marketing an artist who lives the life they rap about. Von's music, combined with his authentic image, had the potential to explode in the industry. If he had stayed out of trouble and focused on his music career, he could have become a straight-up celebrity, possibly even surpassing Lil Durk in popularity. Von's untimely death undoubtedly helped boost Durk's career and status. His numbers went up, and he even dedicated an album, The Voice, to Von. But if Von had never passed, could he have overtaken Durk and become the breakthrough artist of OTF? It's a definite possibility. However, we should also acknowledge that Von's deep involvement in the streets and the constant trouble that seemed to follow him everywhere might have hindered his climb to mainstream success. Navigating the music industry while also being deeply entrenched in the streets is a delicate balance. However, considering his extreme potential and the image he embodied, it is not far-fetched to imagine Von climbing his way into the mainstream and achieving superstar status. Once Von passed away, the mainstream music industry started to take notice. Of course, they had heard songs like Crazy Story, but many of those who were screaming the lyrics word for word didn't even know the face behind the song until after his death. It was his untimely passing that brought him to the forefront of people's attention. Suddenly, he was everywhere, even on TikTok. If you weren't familiar with Von before, you certainly were after he passed. But what if Von had survived? Would his music career have remained at that level? It's certainly possible. Despite his extreme potential, we should recognize that not every artist reaches mainstream success. Von's music videos were gaining millions of views within the first few days before his death, indicating that he was on the brink of breaking into the mainstream. However, it's possible that his success may have plateaued at a certain level. Regardless, it cannot be denied that Von was becoming a household name in hip-hop. His music resonated with audiences, and he was considered one of the best drill artists to come out of Chicago. In just a span of 2 years, he had proven his talent and captivated listeners. If you enjoyed this video, click on the card showing on your screen right now for more videos.